Desde la Ciudad de México, el UFC el día de hoy hará historia porque estamos a unos instantes de dar inicio a la rueda de prensa del UFC, en donde el día de hoy el presidente Dana White tendrá un anuncio. Expectativa, la comunidad de las artes marciales mixtas ha estado esperando este día por mucho tiempo, y así es que el día de hoy, con el todo gusto, estaremos llevándole las emociones de lo que será la rueda de prensa desde la Ciudad de México, en donde, lo repetimos una vez más, hay un anuncio especial y la recibimos con el gusto de siempre. Amigos, yo soy Víctor Dávila, conmigo se encuentra mi compañero Mario Delgado, y como lo dijimos, Mario, hoy llega el presidente a dar un anuncio especial.
Un anuncio especial que nos tiene a todos con la curiosidad, pero sin lugar a dudas va a cambiar el rumbo de las artes marciales mixtas dentro de México y de Latinoamérica.
Se ha manejado mucho hermetismo, ni siquiera nosotros sabemos qué es lo que va a decir, pero se ha manejado también mucho la expansión de las artes marciales mixtas a nivel mundial, específicamente en los latinos ahora, Mario.
Sí, estamos viendo una gran expansión y ahorita se van a dar grandes oportunidades para que se desarrolle dentro de Latinoamérica este deporte que es el de mayor crecimiento a nivel mundial.
En las 155 libras, Anthony Pérez es el actual campeón mundial, tiene sangre latina. Tenemos a Yael Romero, quien fue luchador olímpico y además nacido en Cuba, Mario.
Sí, que lo hemos visto imparable con esos derribes y la potencia. Ha noqueado a 8 de sus 8 oponentes, ha finalizado todos sus combates. Y bueno, qué decir del Goyito Pérez, que ha hecho olas dentro del UFC.
No se puede quedar atrás Eric el Goyito Pérez, nacido y crecido en Monterrey, Nuevo León, al pie del Cerro de la Silla, mi compadre Goyito, Nuevo León, precisamente desde Guadalupe. Otro de los talentos también, Ricardo Lamas.
Ricardo Lamas, que tuve la oportunidad de tenerlo ahí en mi academia grabando unas cápsulas, un peleador que tiene muy buena técnica de lucha olímpica, que tiene derribes, sumisiones, en fin, mucho talento.
Y aparece el Niño Meléndez y Diego Sánchez. Sangre mexicana corría por ese octágono en el UFC 166. El Niño Meléndez, otro de los prospectos con un gran nivel de pelea dentro de las artes marciales mixtas. Otro, Kelvin Gastelum.
Kelvin Gastelum, que hizo una gran sorpresa al ganar The Ultimate Fighter en una categoría que era arriba de su peso, dominó a todos sus oponentes y ahorita viene de un triunfo muy importante sobre Rick Story.
Tenemos un rey, obviamente representando en los pesos completos el actual campeón mundial, Caín Velázquez. ¿Y por qué el rey? Porque poco a poco se ha ido ganando ese nombre dentro del UFC.
Sí, definitivamente se ha consolidado como el número 1 dentro de los pesos completos, habiendo derrotado 2 veces a Junior Dos Santos, la única persona en vencerlo, y lo dominó 9 rounds de una forma muy clara y contundente. También viene de 2 victorias sobre Antonio Silva en una racha de 4 victorias al hilo.
Esas 4 victorias al hilo marcaron un récord en el UFC por parte de Caín Velázquez. Es muy difícil conseguir 4 victorias en la división de los pesos completos, pero como todo campeón, quieren sus huesitos. Enfrente va a tener, se habla de una posible, ya tenemos el contendiente número 1, como es el brasileño, pero por lo pronto Caín Velázquez está entrenando durísimo después de esa lesión que sufrió en el hombro.
Sí, después de una cirugía ya se está recuperando y se está poniendo en forma. Y por otro lado tenemos a Fabricio Werdum, que se acaba de consolidar como el contendiente número 1 después de derrotar a Travis Brown de una forma aplastante durante 5 asaltos. Lo derribó 2 veces, cosa que nunca le habían hecho a Brown, lo dominó en pie. Ahí vemos cuando noqueó a Mike Rousseau. Viene también de 4 victorias al hilo, ambos van a llegar con 4 victorias. Y qué decir de ese combate épico contra Roy Nelson, que viene de ganarle a Minotauro Nogueira, cómo lo dominó.
Ya ha enfrentado a peleadores de alto calibre Fabricio Werdum, y en esta pelea específicamente cabe destacar que Fabricio no era el favorito. Su oponente es muy bueno en la pelea de pie, pero Fabricio le dio una auténtica clínica con el Muay Thai, el kickboxing y el boxeo, Mario.
Sí, algo que ha aprendido de Rafael Cordeiro, que fue el primer entrenador de Anderson Silva y ha sido el entrenador de Fabricio durante mucho tiempo, y pudimos ver los resultados, cómo combinó muy bien el pateo, el golpeo y también los derribes y el jiu-jitsu.
Caín Velázquez obviamente estaba en espera de saber quién lo va a enfrentar. Fabricio Werdum iba a pelear, pero había demasiado espacio por la lesión de Caín Velázquez y le dieron la pelea en contra de Travis Brown. Prueba que superó Fabricio Werdum.
Sí, algo que se me hace muy interesante porque no se quiso esperar a que estuviera Caín listo. Dijo, yo quiero pelear, quiero demostrarle a la gente por qué soy el número 1 y el contendiente número 1, y se lo ganó a pulso. La verdad, se consolida como el retador número 1, alguien que también tiene
riesgo.
Muchos fanáticos latinos, Fabricio.
Muchos fanáticos latinos saben que también nos ayudan, es nuestro compañero en las transmisiones en español del UFC. Así es que la moneda está en el aire y los dos con sangre latina corriendo por sus venas.
Sí, los dos con sangre Latina, y yo creo que es un evento de lujo en cuanto a los pesos completos se refiere en la historia, con una racha de 4 victorias. Creo que nos espera un combate espectacular.
Así es, y así es que todo parece que estamos a unos cuantos instantes de dar inicio en esta rueda de prensa. ¿Por qué en México? Para mí es muy importante, yo no puedo decir el por qué lo va a decir el mismo presidente del UFC, pero para nosotros, Mario, es un orgullo en estar en nuestro México querido.
Sí, esperemos que aquí sea la cuna de ahora en adelante para todos los peleadores latinoamericanos. Están emergiendo grandes talentos y después del anuncio de hoy definitivamente se cambiará el rumbo de las artes marciales mixtas en la historia de nuestro país.
Sabemos que en nuestro país, tanto como en los latinos, tienen esas raíces de tener el espíritu, el corazón guerrero. Por eso ahora yo pienso que con el apoyo que viene a través del UFC, cada vez va a ser más el talento que se sume a esta empresa.
Como nos lo ha comentado nuestro presidente Dana White, la sangre de los latinos es inconfundible y es una parte muy importante, por lo cual van a emerger grandes peleadores. Ahora también con muy buena técnica, tenemos en México muy buen jiu-jitsu, lucha olímpica, boxeo tailandés. Creo que se va a oír mucho de nuestro país en el futuro.
Los ojos del mundo puestos en México, los latinos unidos en una celebración especial, porque estamos a unos instantes, ya están llegando precisamente. Aquí está la gran sorpresa, vemos al centro al presidente del UFC, Dana White.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Thanks for coming.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Gracias por venir.
For me in the UFC. Any of you that have ever followed this company, followed this sport, know that I've been talking about Mexico for a very, very long time.
Todos los que siguen este deporte saben por cuántos años he hablado de México.
That Mexico works very well with this demographic, with this sport.
Pienso que México trabaja muy bien para este deporte. Siempre busqué la oportunidad de venir aquí. Han salido peleadores como Tito que tienen raíces mexicanas. Los mexicanos han dominado las clases de pesos ligeros por muchos años.
I mean, Julio Cesar Chavez was one of my heroes growing up. Let's put it that way. So to finally be here in front of you, it's amazing. And to be making these announcements that we're making, it's been a long time coming for me. So thank you. And I would also like to thank Pepe for hosting this event with us and all his support and in making this happen. So we are here to introduce the Ultimate Fighter Latin America. And I think many of you know the two gentlemen who are up here with us. Heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez and number 1 contender Fabricio Verdum. And these guys will be the 2 head coaches of the Ultimate Fighter Latin America. Pepe?
Okay, well, I don't know if I...
Whatever you want to say.
Bueno, es un placer en nombre de Televisa poder comenzar este nuevo proyecto, el primer reality show que se hace de este tipo en este país. Más que nos estamos poniendo una barra nueva que estamos lanzando en el Canal 5, donde lo que queremos es traer audiencias diferentes, traer otro tipo de contenido. Y creo que esta sociedad que tiene Televisa con UFC es algo que lo único que va a traer es eso, nuevo contenido fresco para audiencias jóvenes. Estamos muy honrados de tener esta sociedad y de poder empezar otro paso más
starting a new step with UFC, and we kick off with the network of UFC and in all the pay TV is paying for that, UFC in Mexico and Latin America, and the idea is to continue growing with this Ultimate Fighter in this case, and the UFC as a company level. As Televisa, I'd like to thank Dana and all his team to have the trust, and Dana for being here in Mexico and Latin America.
Con estos grandes peleadores y traerle nuevos contenidos
and to have all the audiences.
El señor Miguel Ángel Fox es el productor de este reality that
we're going to kick off. And I'd like to ask Mr. Fox to speak further and give us more details about this new project. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, yeah.
Aunque la
And
UFC
even
es
though the
relativamente
UFC is
nueva
relatively
para
new
las audiencias
for
en México,
audiences in Mexico,
en
UFC
Estados Unidos y en
in the
Brasil
United States and
ya
in
se han
Brazil,
producido
UFC
24
has had
temporadas de
already
The Ultimate
24
Fighter
seasons
y
of The
con
Ultimate Fighter,
muchos peleadores
and many more
de ascendencia
fighters
mexicana como Diego
of Mexican
Sánchez,
descent,
Nate Díaz,
Diego
Efraín
Sánchez,
Escudero,
Nate Díaz,
Tony
Efraín
Ferguson,
Escudero, Tony
Kelvin Gastelum.
Ferguson, Kevin
Estamos
Gastelum.
muy
So
emocionados
we're
por este
really
proyecto,
excited
por
for this
esta primera
project, for this
temporada.
first season in
Y para los
Mexico.
que no-
And for
no conocen
those that
mucho
do
de
not
UFC,
know a lot
les
of
preparamos este
UFC, we
video.
prepared this video for you guys. And
Por
girls.
primera vez,
For the
16 de los
first time.
peleadores de MMA más destacados en Latinoamérica tendrán la oportunidad de su vida. Sus habilidades, constancia y coraje determinarán quién será el primer The Ultimate Fighter Latinoamérica. 8 guerreros mexicanos y 8 del resto de Latinoamérica harán vibrar el octágono. Al final, solo uno tendrá el honor de proclamarse The Ultimate Fighter Latinoamérica.
Yo quería comentar
I wanted
antes de
to
darles
tell
datos
you, before
específicos de
giving you
cuándo sale
specific
el
data
proyecto al
when the
aire,
project is going
que
to
para
be on
mucha
the
gente
air.
que no
For many
conoce
people
el
that do not
deporte,
know the sport,
hay una esencia
there
de
is an
que es una
essence
liga
that
de
this is
pelea
a,
callejera,
it's
pero
not a street
realmente
league
los peleadores que van a ver y
fighting.
los
The
coaches son los
fighters, the
atletas más
coaches
completos
are
que yo he
the
visto. Yo estoy
most
muy emocionado
outstanding fighters and
trabajar
coaches.
con
I'm
estos
very
dos
excited
grandes
to work with these
campeones.
two great
Para lo que
champions.
es,
Let me
y ta-
tell
y
you
otra cosa que me
that something
emociona,
else that
que
excites
el
me a great
proyecto, la
deal is
casa
that
del
the
proyecto en
project,
México de
Project
Ultimate
Home, the
Fighter,
residence, the Ultimate
será
Fighter Home, is going to be
la barra de
the
PM de
bar,
Canal
the
5.
PM
Y
Channel
como
5
comentó Pepe,
bar,
pues
and
que
as
es el
Pepe
primer
said,
reality
is the
que tiene
first
esta barra,
reality that this
pues lo
bar
hace todavía
has, makes
más
it
grande.
even bigger.
Hay muchas
greater.
sorpresas,
There's a
llevaremos
lot of
celebridades,
surprises.
el
We're going to
programa se
bring
graba en Las
celebrities. The
Vegas
program
y
is going
saldrá
to
al
be
aire la
recorded in
semana del
Vegas, and
11
it's
de
going to
agosto
be aired on
y tendremos
August
12
11th,
emisiones
and
y una
we're
gran
going to
final
have
en
2
vivo que
emissions
más
and
adelante
one
les
grand
platicará
finale
Dana.
that Dana is going to
Muchas
talk to you
gracias.
about. That's going to be at the end.
Yeah, so it's been a long
Sí,
time
ha sido
coming,
mucho
and I am
tiempo,
very proud
mucho
to
tiempo, y
announce,
estoy
obviously,
encantado de anunciar.
this season of The Ultimate Fighter will air here and in Latin America, and we will bring the first live event to Mexico. The week of November 15th, it will be the finale of The Ultimate Fighter, and the two coaches, Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum, will fight in the main event. I think we're going to roll a little video here for you.
¿Podemos ver el video, por favor?
Contendiente número 1, ya tiene rival. Esta pelea va a ser historia.
So that's it. It's official. The UFC is finally coming to Mexico. So who has any questions? Just raise your hand, and we have microphones. We'll probably bring a microphone to you. Right here, the gentleman in the second row. Do we have microphones?
Dana, antes que todo, felicidades por traer esta pelea, por traer este
Congratulate you
reality
for
show
bringing this
aquí a
reality
México.
show and this fight to
Son dos
Mexico.
preguntas. La primera
Two
es,
questions. The
ya que
first
se había
one,
trabajado
yes,
con
before
Televisa,
we
se
had
había hecho un intento de
a
traer
word
la
with
UFC en
Televisa, they
México.
wanted to
¿Qué cambió
bring
ahora para que
UFC.
finalmente se negociara
How
bien con
now
ellos
it's
y se
possible to
hiciera
negotiate
realidad
well with
este
them and to make
reality
this
show
reality
de
show come
Ultimate
true,
Fighter?
the Ultimate Fighter? And the second question, the Ultimate Fighter
el reality show
was
que
a
le dio vida
reality show
realmente a la
that
UFC
gave
allá en
life to
Estados Unidos,
UFC in the
cuando
United
tuvieron muchos
States when
problemas
they had a lot of
económicos, todo,
economic problems
sacaron
and
un
all that.
reality
With the
y se fueron para
reality, they
arriba.
made
¿Qué
it, they
esperan
just
ahora aquí
boomed
en
up
México?
and they flourished. What are you expecting in Mexico?
Well, thank you, first of all. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I expect a lot of the same thing that has happened in the United States and all over the rest of the country, all over the rest of the world. One of the great things that this show does, you know, when we go into any country or new territory, there are a lot of misconceptions about the sport, and not only of the sport, but the athletes who participate in it. This is an opportunity for people to look inside our world and become educated about who these people are and what this sport is really about. It's not about violence. These guys are professional athletes who've been training their entire lives to make it to this point, to fight for a world title and see who the best in the world is. And people in Mexico and throughout Latin America will see the type of human beings that these guys are. Cain Velasquez is one of the nicest guys you could ever meet, as is Verdum. These guys are educated guys who speak very well. They have families. They're normal people just like everybody else. They're just professional athletes, no different than soccer players, no different than basketball, baseball, football players. And that's what the world will get to see. Not only that, but what incredible athletes these guys are and what it takes to participate in this sport. How talented you need to be, how well-rounded in all these different martial arts you need to be. It's a real education tool for us. And obviously, the people of Mexico will get to see these Latin American fighters get to learn the personalities, get behind guys, and you know, it's the greatest marketing tool we've ever had. Televisa is awesome. I love Televisa. I mean, these guys have been fantastic in putting this deal together with us. Their support of the UFC has been phenomenal. I'm very excited. Just the feeling I get from these guys, you know, already before we've ever even really got into this thing, reminds me of the deal that we have in the U.S. with Fox. We really respect them a lot, and we look forward to working with them.
Hola, buenas tardes. De este lado, a su derecha. Para Caín y para Fabricio son dos de los hombres que más caballerosidad muestran fuera del octágono. ¿Cómo cambiar eso a la hora de entrar en el octágono para uno defender el título, el otro buscarlo y para
and the other one to
Dana,
look for it? And for Dana, what does it mean to be here in Mexico City doing this announcement? For me, it's going to be the same. For me, fighting is a fight, and it's something that I'm going to be focused on. I'm going to be focusing on the fight, and I'm focusing on winning, of course. And for me, it's the same. It's my work to go to a fight and to win and to be the champion. And I'm going to be, as always, I believe we have a lot of ways of promoting a fight and to do a proper fight, to sell it more for people, to be able to see that this is a serious sport and it's a professional sport. We can go other places. For example, you go places and they curse you, and I don't have to say bad things about Cain. Cain is a great champion, he's a good person, and not only in the octagon but outside the octagon. I have had the opportunity of interviewing him 2 times in an office, so we have always had a cordial relationship. So let me tell you that we can bring the promotion of the fight, we cannot sell the same and promise you, and what we can promise is the fight is going to be a great fight. Hi, over here. The first question is for Dana. What other fighters are going to be in this fight? And Cain, are you going to be totally recovered from your injury? Thank you.
I certainly hope he will be.
Yo espero
I've
que
said
esté
it before.
recuperado.
It's going to be tough to come to Mexico without Cain, so I'm hoping. He's been off for a while. He's a young guy. He should be healing up pretty well. I don't know.
Sí, pues ahí va. Sí, yo voy a hacer
I'm going to do whatever I can do to fight here in Mexico, and I'm going to be ready to do whatever it takes to give you a great fight. And I know that because I had an injury, and I know what I have to do to be ready. Okay.
Wait, what was this? What didn't we answer?
¿Qué no contestamos?
My translator's leaving me hanging.
No,
here.
I'm not leaving you hanging. There's no microphone. I cannot translate.
Oh, she couldn't hear him. Go ahead.
¿Qué otros peleadores van a estar?
What other fighters are going to be there?
So
okay.
We'll have the finale of The Ultimate Fighter, and I don't know the rest of the card yet. Obviously, you know, it's so far away. As we get closer, we'll start to build the card. But you know I want to come into Mexico with a bang, so we're going to bring some good fights down here, I promise you.
Dana, yo sé que para UFC era muy importante el mercado
very important, the
latino.
Latin market, all the Latin American continent. It has great fighters and great people that are in Olympic Games and fights. And how important is for UFC to have an event in this part of the continent? And where do you see the market in Mexico and Latin America in the next 5 years?
Yeah, no, it's very important. It's always been very important to me. And different than being more important to me, it's the no-brainer. This is where all the baddest fighters in the world have come from for years. And now that the UFC and mixed martial arts is getting so big, I'm 44 years old. When I was growing up, your parents would put you in karate or taekwondo or something. This is the new martial art that people are taking all over the world. Kids, women, men, and it's no secret that the best fighters forever have always come from Mexico and Latin America. So it's really just a no-brainer. It needs to happen. It always needed to happen, and it's finally happening now. I hope I answered your question. I get crazy when we start talking about the Latino fighters and stuff.
Dana, here. First of all, thank you so much for finally bringing UFC to Mexico. We've been expecting this forever. And as you said recently in some of the interviews, you said that there's no way that UFC would come without Cain Velasquez to Mexico. What would happen if Cain gets an injury? Are we going to have another fight, or will you postpone the event?
Bite your tongue.
Muérdete la lengua.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah. Obviously, I think that that having Cain here is very important, and obviously, I think it's important too to have the heavyweight title fight here, especially coming off the Ultimate Fighter Latin America after these two coaches. So, you know, this is the fight business. It's a contact sport. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. I don't know. We'll ride this thing out. We'll see what happens. I want to make sure that when we come to Mexico for the first time, I bring the best possible event, the best possible fights, and we really blow the doors off this thing. So I just want to do it the right way. We'll see what happens.
A mí no me importa nada si Caín quiere pelear lesionado.
I don't mind if Cain wants to fight with injury, because I would love it. Verdum.
You bite your tongue too, sir.
Tú también, muérdete la lengua.
¿Qué tal? Muy buenas tardes. Señor José Bastón,
Mr.
¿por qué
José Bastón, why bringing here? Why do you bring UFC to Mexico? What is your development plan for Televisa to do an exhibit or to have an exposure with more media than what you had with Box? Well, let me tell you that we've always liked to bring the best that exists in the world to our country, to our Mexican audiences, and no doubt, since we started relationships with UFC many years ago, this is a product that would add up to what we saw in our country, what we were able to watch. So we're always going to try to bring different associations and partnerships with contents of this nature. What do you see in the future with this product, with UFC? What do we see? A lot to do, a lot to be done. As Dana said, this is a sport, this is a martial art that has a lot of disciplines that a lot of people do not know. For us, it's very important for people to get to know that UFC is a great sport, is a great discipline, and clearly they're going to know in Ultimate Fighter everything that they have to train to achieve and belong and be part of this league and be able to stand in an octagon and a fight. As I said to you at the start, this is a good product linked to a company that's dedicated to the media and be able to achieve an association or partnership where we can bring the best to our audiences and use this in the different distribution platforms, not only in pay TV, but also in open TV, through PM, and we'll do a lot of activities in the digital platforms alike. Hi. In your pay TV, where do you concentrate greater audiences? In what countries? Can you share with us how much does it cost to bring this type of shows to Mexico? Well, the truth is that the pay TV is just kicking off. They take a while to be positioned. We believe that in no time, and even more with the strategy that we're doing with the Ultimate Fighter, we're going to be able to position it even better in our country. In Latin America, I do not know the numbers, but clearly we can give the numbers to you.
A nivel costos,
And at a
nunca
cost
nosotros
level,
hemos
we have never said publicly how much events cost, because this is a public company, so we don't give you a report of how much do the events cost. I apologize for that.
Hola, Dana.
Hi, Dana. We were waiting for a long time for you to bring UFC to Mexico. You know, there's a lot of fans here in Mexico. Thank you. Thank you for bringing UFC. I'm so happy Cain is going to be there. Verdun also, because he speaks Spanish, he's going to do a good show. But I have a question. Where is the talent going to be recruited for the Ultimate Fighter? And is it going to be Mexico against the rest of Latin America, or how are the teams going to be being made up?
Thank you, sir.
Muchísimas
it's a very,
gracias.
like I said many times now, it's a very important day for us too. We're very excited about this. We've been cultivating talent in Mexico for a while now. We've been ready and waiting for this opportunity. It's no different than what we do when we go into China or any of these other countries. We go in first, we start to cultivate the talent, and and also in Latin America. So, there's going to be Mexicans and a lot of other Latin American countries represented in this show. Did I answer your question? Go ahead, what do you got? Well, wait, give him the mic so my translator can.
But what I wanted to know, or what I was asking, is that you brought people to train with Greg Jackson. Is any of them going to be incorporated in this reality in Latin America?
You know your stuff there, guy. Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. We'll see. It's a reality show. I can't tell you everything today. You're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
Dana.
Yes.
Dana. Here, over here. Good afternoon. Do you know when the tickets are going to be out for the November 15th and for Fabricio? Most of the people are going to be against you, let's say. How is going to be your mental preparation for that? Because everybody is going to be against you, you know?
Yeah, I don't...
Bueno.
What do you think, Jamie? Do we know when we're going to start doing tickets? Where are you? The week of August 26th will go on sale. And then I think that second question was for you.
Sí, yo creo que el mental es bastante importante, claro que sí. Yo creo que la parte mental, nosotros hacemos el entrenamiento, cuando nosotros estamos muy bien entrenados, con el entreno viene como la última pelea que había visto, ¿no? Contra Travis Brown, estaba muy bien preparado. Entonces la mente ya viene natural, que te preparas también. Claro que habrá una afición ahí como, no sé, yo creo que 90% a lo mejor. Yo quisiera solo 10% para mí, por favor.
So give me a 10%, guys. At least 90% for Cain, of course, 90% for Cain, because everybody loves him. He's a fighter, doesn't talk a lot. He's always within the octagon. He is as he should be. It's difficult to see him talking too much or saying bad things about other people. Or I'm going to try to be stronger, to have more motivation. But when I also fought in Brazil, I know that everybody was in favor of my contendant, and everybody at the end, nobody did boo or nobody did bad things to me. There's respect, as there should be. So I believe that Mexicans and all Latin America is going to respect me because I'm there, and people watch me on TV. So I'm going to be a good show. We're going to offer a good show, and I'm going to be very well prepared mentally. Y yo creo que le van a decir boo. Sí, seguramente.
No,
pero ¿saben qué?
One of the things that you guys will see when this event comes here, obviously, there are going to be a lot of Mexicans. There's things in Mexico City. But what you'll see is, because this is the first event in Mexico, people are going to come from all over the world for this event. There will definitely be a lot of Brazilians there supporting him. But there will be people, believe me, it's a monumental event. We've been talking about this for years and years. This event will be huge, and people will come from all over the world for this fight.
Yo estoy seguro que habrá como 5. Mi madre, mi
There's going to be 5. My mommy, my brother, at least 3 more guys of my friends are going to be here too. Hi, Cain. Good afternoon. I just wanted to ask you, I don't know if you have a few words for your fans. We are from Fightland, Mexico. Do you have some words for your fans in Mexico? And what do you feel of fighting in your parents' land? It's a great honor for me. For me, it's a dream.
estoy listo para esto porque yo quería esto mucho.
I wanted to fight here in Mexico, and it's going to be a dream come true that I'm going to fight in Mexico in November 15, and all the people. Thank you so much for your support. I just wanted again to be a better fighter. I want to be a better person for you, for my fans, to be a good example for everyone. Dana, two questions. The first question is, why recording it in Vegas and not recording it in Mexico, all the reality show? And the second question, we women love UFC. Are some women going to come? Are some women going to fight in the reality? Women.
I've been on the road for 5 weeks. I'm filming 2 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. Las Vegas is a lot easier for us. You know, Las Vegas is closer, it's easier. Let me tell you what. It's the same thing. If we were here, it's a house and a gym. Okay. It's a house and a gym. It's not going to take anything away from these guys being in Vegas or if they were here in Mexico. The other part of your question, I do believe yes. Women's MMA has exploded. It's bigger than I ever dreamed it could be, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Yesterday in Las Vegas, we did the tryouts for the 115-pound women, and I was very impressed and blown away by the talent that showed up. And just like the men here in Latin America and Mexico, I think there's going to be a lot of talented women too. Yes. And Brazil. There's a lot of talented women coming out of Brazil right now.
Sí, Dana.
Yes, Dana, from over here. In this case, I wanted to ask Fabricio and Cain about this commitment they have, because this is a larger commitment, larger than many of us thought. Fabricio, for example, you put Federer and Lilianenko, and as if it is not enough, Minotauro Nogueira. So in this case, Cain Velasquez also accounted for the best fighter, and he also accounted for the best boxer that we have in UFC in heavyweight. So in this case, do you notice the size of the event that you're about to do in here? And what do you think about the size of the event? Well, let me tell you that I'm quite aware that this is going to be a huge event, but what I like the most is that we're going to be in our home, and I can show you the world of Latin America. The world is going to see, and we are going to be able to show everybody that we're serious. This is going to be to see the life of a fighter, the training, the weight, and maybe if I'm not doing well mentally, the other way is going to be very well physically, and we can do these things that we have to be careful with the weight. We have to have our head to lose weight and to recover the weight when needed. And what I like the most is that we can show a little bit a step forward, because fans, for example, you that are here, you're fans, you know sports, but what we want to be, or UFC wants to reach further beyond to the people that don't know our sports, to show them that our sports is a serious sports, martial arts is not because we're an obligation. I love it. I don't know if you've seen the fight that I fought against Brown. I was so happy against Travis Brown. In the middle, I was fighting. I was laughing in the middle of the fight because I was seizing the moment. I was well trained. I knew it. I was happy, and that's the best thing that can happen. Work on what you do and leaving, seizing the experience. The residence is the best for people to start getting used to our sports. People that don't know anything, because fans, as I said before, they know how things go. But we want to reach those children, women, people, men, like in Brazil. Women love it, and the UFC. So men have to also know what it is, and we have to show that our sports is a professional and very serious sport. Well, with the show, it's going to be my first time that I'm going to be a coach. I know that Fabricio was a coach against Nogueira, and for me, I'm going to be focused on improving my fighters, in teaching them everything I know, everything I like. I want to show them and teach them to become great fighters, and so people can see how do we train, can watch. We're focusing on the sport, and yes, we're training boxing, Muay Thai, fights, and all that, and jiu-jitsu, and how are we ready in the training, and how do you get trained, how do you learn how to eat, how do you prepare your mind, how do you prepare your body, and all that. I know it's going to be a great fight with lots of people here, but I'm ready, and I have been many years that I wanted to be in a fight in Mexico, and I'm going to be ready. And something else I forgot to ask, to say, the most important thing that I wanted to say is that what's going to come out of here is Latin American fighters. We want to launch Latin American fighters. I'm also Latin American, so we want to launch those people that are hard, we're warriors. We want to show the world that we Latins are warriors, not only of fighting, but we're warriors about life. We fight in life to have a better life, and that's why we have such a huge heart.
Roberto
from MundoIncorrecto.x. Not only in Mexico, but other parts of the world, that they don't know sports, they believe this is a violent sport. What can UFC do specifically in the event in UFC 180 so the Mexican audience can change their perception, and the Ultimate Fighter Latin America, can they help in their day-to-day view of this process to change the perception that this is an excessively violent
so for the last 13 years, that's what we've been doing. We've been traveling the world, crushing that stigma that was attached to this sport. It takes time, and that's why we're so excited that we're having the opportunity to do this television show with Televisa, because, I mean, all you have to do is just sit up here and listen to these guys talk as you get to know who they are. The sportsmanship in this sport is second to none. I don't care if you're talking about basketball, football, or anything else. These guys are very respectful people. They're normal people like anybody else. They train hard. They have families. And, a lot of people probably wouldn't know this in Mexico if you told them this. In the 20-year history of the UFC, there has never been a death or serious injury. Never been a death or serious injury in the 20-year history in all the fights that we've done. And all the questions that you're asking will be answered on The Ultimate Fighter when this thing airs. You will see the type of human beings that participate in this sport. And as we do more media, I'm actually really shocked. This is a huge turnout of media here today in a place that we've never been, and how educated all the media is in here on the UFC, and we've never even done an event here. It's very impressive.
Yo siempre, perdón que me tomé un expreso antes de la cotización, un poquito.
I'm sorry that I took a little bit of the microphone, but I love your question, because as I said before, the most important thing that is going to happen is that for people to see in the home, to see us as professional people. Violence does exist in the street. When a person wants to harm you, when a person wants to mock you, well, that's violence. But our sport is different. We're training from 5-6 hours a day to be there because we like it, because we're enjoying, seizing the moment. That's why I give that example. It's the best thing that can happen, simple to understand. Violence, yes, exists in the street. In the octagon, no, we're professional. This is a discipline.
Okay. Thank you. Ijong-soo M5, all the way from South Korea. I have two questions for Mr. Dana White. First question, I want to know why it took so long to bring the UFC to Mexico. Was it about television deal, or was it government thing, or anything, or like cultivating fighters, like you said? And second question is, there are hundreds of fighters on the roster of the UFC. Have you ever thought about making the regional or continent title, like Latin America title, Asia title? If so, yeah, I want to know, hear your answer.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, it took a lot longer to get down here than I thought it would. And at the end of the day, look how long it took us to get a network deal in the United States. We could have done network deals before that. We've always held out and waited for the right deal with the right people. And now we have that. We literally, and we were talking about it at lunch before we came here, everything is lined up perfectly right now. We have the right deal with the right guys, young, smart, aggressive guys that work and feel the way that we do every day and are really passionate about the sport. 4 or 5 years ago probably would have been too early. Now is the right time with the right people. And the other part is, yes, we did have to cultivate fighters first, and we have been doing that. And then your second question was about the regional, yeah. The thing that there's been a lot of talk about that lately. The thing that I don't like about that is it starts to break it down like boxing did, and when you start to get these different rankings all over the world and all this stuff, you start to lose track of who's who. And let's say you get some guys down here in Mexico or in Latin America that are ranked number one, but really couldn't be ranked number one in their weight class. You know, it doesn't work. I like the world rankings. At the end of the day, I want to know who the best guy in the world is in each weight class. Not who the best guy in that region is. I want to know who the best guy in the world is. And when that guy does become the number one or break into the top 5 or becomes the champion, it's a big deal and it really means something. If a guy from England becomes the number one contender and then becomes the champion, or if a guy from Brazil becomes the number one, and he's the best in the world. I think that means a lot more than regional. Yep.
Hi, Dana. Every year, the UFC has more fans and more people that are attracted to them. Why? Because boxing has lost credibility, because the last championship, the boxing championships have lost credibility. How come you've gained so much credibility?
Well, I think one of the things that we've done is, we always put the best against the best. We always make the best fights. And we make the fights that the fans want to see. And, I think that boxing, the boxing culture here in Mexico is literally second to none. And I think boxing is always going to be a sport here that people get behind and people support. And you can like both. You don't have to like one and not the other. You can be a fan of both sports. But the fact is, we give you the fights that the people want to see.
Dana y Pepe, los quiero felicitar por
I want to congratulate you for these. The truth is, this is a association of winners. You two are victorious. UFC and Televisa. Thank you for bringing UFC to Mexico. The question everybody has about what is a street sport, or Fabricio, you've taught us, you have given us a university speech. You are not a street fighter. You are a gentleman. How you applauded Cain, that you are true athletes from heart. The Mexican heart is with Cain. You know that, Cain. And we're all going to support you, of course, but the respect from now on to Verdum is with you, Fabricio. We respect you. Thank you for what you just showed us and taught us. And do you know where the event is going to be?
Thank you, sir, for the kind words. Appreciate it. Go ahead, you want to go?
El evento, el del 15 de mayo, será en la Arena Ciudad de México. 15 de noviembre, perdón, 15 de noviembre, Arena Ciudad de México.
But it's November 15. So he just corrected himself. Arena México, Mexico City.
Okay. Somebody want to give this guy a mic right
¿Alguien quiere darle el micrófono? Hola.
Hi.
Hola. As of this date, November 15th, when are we going to have fights in Mexico?
Is that the same question?
No. After then, after.
Oh, after that?
Yeah, after that.
We didn't even come here yet. We're planning the next one already? we got to have this event before we plan the next one. But I can tell you this. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. I expect it to be extremely successful here in Mexico. And if you've seen what we've done in Brazil, I use Brazil as the template. You know, we went down there, it was incredibly successful, and we literally it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. We did more and more events. We put on unbelievable fights down there, and I absolutely know the same thing's going to happen in Mexico.
Okay, Dana, buen día.
You want a super fight? With Kane? Well, let him fight Verdum first, okay? We'll do that fight first, and then we'll figure that one out. You guys are jumping way ahead of us here.
¿Me quiere joder a mí o qué?
Dana, buen día. Alba Jaramillo de
I'm Alba Jaramillo from Fighters Only. We wanted to know, do you have the categories, the weights that you're going to have for the show?
Yeah.
Like the...
Yes, we do. What are the weights?
Sí, ya sabemos. ¿Cuáles son los pesos?
135, 145.
Gracias.
And just, nobody asked this yet, I'll just let you know because nobody's said it yet, but filming begins the week of May 12th. And the series will start premiering the week of August 18th. If you didn't know that, just thought I'd throw that out there.
Nada, es increíble tenerlos aquí a la UFC. Dana, gracias, Pepe,
UFC,
gracias,
Dana,
Chido.
thank you.
Una pregunta para los peleadores, ¿no?
Ken, thank
Están en un
you. And
momento donde van
a
a
question
pelear
for the
por
fighters.
campeonato y
You're going to
aparte van a
fight
ser
for the
coach
championship,
de
and
un
you're going to be
equipo.
coaches of a
Entonces tienen
team.
doble
So you
responsabilidad,
have
defender
dual
el título,
responsibility, defending the
intentar ganar el
title,
título.
trying
¿Cómo
to win
llevan
the
esa
title,
parte,
and
no?
being
O sea, esa
coaches.
doble
How are you going to have this
responsabilidad
dual
que tienen
hat,
hoy como
double
peleadores y como
responsibility
coach?
of fighters and coaches? How are you going to manage both? Well, with the show, we are going to, this is going to be the first time I do a show like that, and I thought that I have to go and train and do everything that it takes, and it's going to be a very good experience, and you're going to have very good coaches, and I'm going to bring for the show, and on that I'm going to get ready, and it's going to be a very good show because with Verdum, he's a good fighter, he's a good man, and I'm sure you're going to see a good show. But we're fighters, and we're going to be ready, and we're going to prepare ourselves, and our work is going to be ready for a great fight. And I want to be a champion, of course, and he wants to win the championship. But I want to be the champion and continue being the champion. So I thought there's two different responsibilities, because one is, of course, is being the champion of your team, the one that's going to be a champion, and I want to make my team champions. I know it's not a long time to train people, you know, as if it's a normal day. It's not enough time to train people perfectly well, but at least we can show them our experience. We'll show them a little of the experience that we have lived in our march for many years. So we're going to teach them, and we'll learn with them. That's important for you to know, because I participated in two realities, and I learned so much from the trainees. They taught me everything from in general, not only on fighting, but I'm going to maintain my training in Vegas. I'm going to bring my coaches also, because the worst thing that can happen is when you're training, you stop training to do something else. So it's important because I'm in the environment I like to be there where I like to be. I teach, I train, and I also train myself and I train others. I'm going to be bring the champion I get from there, and then I'm going to continue my training to win over Cain Velasquez. Dos preguntas más. Cain and Fabricio.
Cain, más allá de la rivalidad
aside from the rivalry between teams and the reality, do you believe that this rivalry that you're going to have in the show is going to increase the rivalry, the sports rivalry that you're going to have on the octagon and Fabricio? For you, would this be kind of a revenge after the blows that Cain gave to Junior? Well, the show is going to be the same. It's going to be as I train. We are going to have the coaches that I already have. And for me, I'm going to focus on my fighters. And that's going to be very important to teach people how we train. And that's how we're going to do it. I see it as a revenge because I never fought against Cain. And Dos Santos is my rival. So I don't see it as a
brasileño.
revenge because he's
Y
Brazilian.
claro que yo veo como
So
gran
I
desafío de mi
see
vida.
a very
Claro que sí, yo creo
important
que va a ser el más
challenge,
grande
and this is going
desafío
to
que
be the
tengo en toda
greatest
mi vida
challenge that
y
I've
poder
ever had in
pelear
my
contra
life,
Caín,
to
que
be
yo
able to
sé que
fight
es
against
muy
Cain,
bueno.
that I know
Yo sé
he's
que
very
tengo que
good,
estar muy bien
and I know I
preparado
have
para
to be
poder
very well
sacar el
prepared
cinturón de Caín
to
Velázquez.
get
Y
the
como
belt
te he dicho,
and
como
get
nunca
it
peleé
from
contra él,
him.
entonces
I've
no veo
never
como
fought
una
against
revancha.
him, so I don't see it as revenge.
One more.
Una más.
Gracias.
Una pregunta más. Here, one. This is a super fight question. Thank you so much, Dana, for being here. And the two of you too, and the three of you. We respect you a lot in Mexico because you're great fighters, are very respectful. And at the same time, this question is to the three of you. Dana, have you ever thought, many times it's been said about the super fight that were mentioned,
Ya no está George St. Pierre, también
George
está
St. Pierre
lesionado.
is not here. He also
Se ha
got
pensado
injured.
también
Have you thought
que iba a haber una lucha
that there was
entre
going to be a
John
fight
Jones
between
y
John
Caín
Jones
Velázquez?
and Cain
¿Sí se tiene
Velasquez?
alguna
Have you
fecha para
foreseen a
este tipo
date for
de
this type of
superpeleas? O
super
también si
fights,
en este
or
caso
in this
Verdum
case
gana?
Verdum wins?
¿Se ha pensado en eso?
Have
Y,
you
pues,
thought
bueno,
about
Caín,
that?
también te quería
And Cain,
preguntar,
I wanted
¿tu
to ask you,
lesión
what about your
es
injury?
menos
Is
que
your
la que
injury is
tuviste
minor
antes de
than the one
defender
you
tu
had
título
before you
contra Dos
defended your
Santos?
title against Dos Santos?
Y, pues, bueno, eso
And
será.
that's all.
So, right now,
Bueno, en este momento,
Cain Velasquez has to fight Verdum. John Jones has Gustafsson, possibly Cormier if he wins that fight. He's got a lot of guys lined up still. When you start looking at something, the other thing is John Jones is 26 years old. As he continues to get older, he will have a harder and harder time making 205, which would eventually probably force him up to heavyweight. It's not the time for a Cain versus John Jones super fight.
Pues con el lesión, pues
with my
esta estaba más
injury
rápido que
is
la otra.
this is worse than the other,
pues, es una
but
cosa que
is
ya tengo
something
mucho
that
tiempo
I have
que
had
con, pues,
for
la
a long
experiencia
time.
que
My experience
estoy lastimado
has
y
taught
cómo
me
puedo
that I have been injured and how can I
ir para atrás
fix
para
it
entrenar,
to
para hacer todo eso.
train and
Es
go
parte
back
de
and
ese trabajo
train.
que
It's
sí te
part of
vas
the
a
job.
lastimar o lo
You're
que
going to
sea,
get injured. It's
pero
part of the job.
yo nomás quiero
But
seguir para
I just
atrás,
wanted to go
entrenar
back
como yo
to train
puedo
as I
y,
know,
pues, estar listo para
to
esa
train
pelea.
and be ready for the fight.
So I want to thank all of you
Quiero
for coming out today and
agradecerles a
supporting
todos
us.
ustedes.
It really means a lot. It feels so good to finally be here in Mexico and see all these faces from the media here today. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our incredible partners from Televisa for all their hard work and support of the UFC. We really appreciate you and look forward to this partnership. What I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to get Cain and Fabricio out here, square them off so you guys can take a photo op. Thank you so much for coming out today. We appreciate it.
Por favor, si son tan amables, en este momento puede haber sesión de fotografías, por favor. Con precaución y orden todos tendrán acceso a la fotografía si son tan amables. Muchas gracias.
Más cerca, más cerca.
Les pedimos por favor bajen de las sillas para que las cámaras de la parte de atrás puedan tener también acceso. Si son tan amables de bajarse de las sillas, por favor.
De este lado. Aquí, por favor.
Les recordamos que sean tan amables de dejar sus aparatos traductores en la puerta, si son tan amables. Les pedimos nuevamente sean tan amables de bajarse de las sillas, por favor. Esto nos ayudará a tener un poco más de orden si son tan amables.
Aquí, por favor.
Thank you.
¿Son tan amables de bajarse de las sillas, por favor? Abajo de las sillas, por favor.
¿Dónde está mi teléfono, Carlos? ¿Dónde está mi teléfono? Aquí abajo. ¿Vas a sacar foto ahora, sí?
Good, how are you?
Finally, Mr. Years, I can tell you, February 26, 2000.
Right. Long time coming. You know, we finally got the right deal with the right people at the right time. It actually played out perfectly. This is the perfect time for us to be here, and we got the right deal.
Yeah, I also interviewed you a couple of years ago. You were saying that you were surprised that it didn't explode that early. I think it's the right moment. When do you see Mexico to be like Canada or Brazil? How many years do you think?
I think as soon as we get on television, it's going to start to grow with The Ultimate Fighter, just like it did everywhere else. So, you know, we'll see. Everywhere we've gone, this has worked. It's a no-brainer for Mexico and Latin America for all the reasons that I've said. You know, combat sports has always been big here, a part of this culture, and the toughest guys in the world come out of Latin America.
We talk about this for the last years. You know me when I used to go to Vegas, and we talk about Mexico. Of course, there's a lot of sold-out events, you know, and we're expecting the records probably now that we have that huge alliance between Televisa and the UFC.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was saying that today at the press conference. People, you know, obviously Mexico, when this event is announced, they're going to want to come. But people are going to come from all over the world. Verdum is fighting. There's going to be a lot of Brazilians here. There will be people from the UK, Australia, you know, all parts of the world will come. This is, when we do the first event down here, it's monumental. And UFC fans all over the world are so hardcore and love to be a part of the first one. This is going to be a big event globally.
Now that you use the word monumental, do you think this can be or has the potential to be the biggest fight in the heavyweight division since we have a guy from Brazil and a guy representing Mexico?
Yeah, no, it's going to be big down here. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. The energy is going to be insane. And, you know, I know there's a lot of fans here in Mexico, and there'll be a lot of people that'll be there for the first time. And all I can say is what I always say. Believe me when I tell you, you've seen it on television, wait till you see it live. It is the most exciting live sporting event you will ever see, and now Mexico will finally get to experience that live event.
I have a good one. We have the World Cup this year going on in Brazil.
Yep.
Fabricio Verdum. We have the Mexicans right here pulling up, maybe from Cain Velasquez. Do you think it's going to be in November? Is there something going on that we can mix the sports, probably the flags, Brazil and everything?
Well, that happens anyways. I mean, traditionally, the Brazilians and the Mexicans are very, very proud of their heritage. Nobody carries flags around like Brazilians and Mexicans, man. You know, they always have their flags. There's going to be a lot of that at the event. There is in the events all over the world. I mean, when Gustafsson fights, there's Swedish flags everywhere. You know, there's going to be a lot of flags at this event down here, no doubt about it.
Well, Dana, Mario Delgado, myself, in name of everybody in Mexico and the Latinos, I want to shake your hand and tell you gracias and the fist.
Thank you, sir.
Mario, shake and fist, because now it's official.
Appreciate it.
Now that you said it's official, thanks for everything and make it happen, Dana.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I always say thank you, UFC.
Thank you.
That's the way I close the show, so thank you, Dana. Thank you, UFC.
Thank you, sir.
Estamos desde México, así es que la rueda de prensa va a continuar. Bueno, en la rueda de prensa tenemos otros invitados que estuvieron en la rueda de prensa. En siguiente término llega el gran campeón, Cain Velázquez. Mario, lo conoces muy bien, así es que la dinámica, a continuación, Mario le va a hacer algunas preguntas a Cain Velázquez. Y aquí viene, no, el cinto, compadre, traigas el cinto, compadrito. Yo se lo cuido si quiero, ahí cárguelo bien. ¿Cómo estás, Cain?
Todo bien, sí.
Estamos en México, pasaron muchos años, por fin, no solamente estamos en México, tienes el cinto.
Sí, es una cosa, pues, yo quería esta pelea aquí por muchos años ya y pues va a pasar y es uno de mis sueños para pelear aquí y pues estoy contento, estoy feliz, sí, para esto.
Hemos hablado de este momento durante varios años desde que te conocimos, las primeras veces que llegaste cuando todavía no eras campeón. Ahorita te impresiona ver en la calle, fuimos a ver al jefe de gobierno, cómo te paraba la gente, los policías. ¿Visualizaste en algún momento ser la personalidad que eres hoy aquí en México?
Pues con eso yo ya sabía que era un caso que yo tenía que ganar, ser campeón, a ganar y que toda la gente me van a seguir y pues así es, y ya caminando aquí en México pues hay muchos fanáticos de la UFC y pues me siento a casa aquí con todos los mexicanos y yo nomás pues estoy contento por esta oportunidad para pelear aquí y sí.
Caín, en la rueda de prensa te dijeron, los mexicanos están contigo, pero también dijeron que el respeto, después de escuchar el carisma y la facilidad de palabra que tiene Fabricio Verdum, se lo están dando a Fabricio Verdum. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Oh, sí, pues Verdum es una buena persona, es un buen peleador, una persona con mucho respeto. Yo tengo mucho respeto a él y pues él a mí y yo pienso que vamos a ver eso en el show, en el Tough Show. Y igual cuando vamos a pelear no vamos a hablar nada mal de nosotros, pero es una cosa que vamos a estar listos para una pelea buena y eso es lo que va a pasar.
Muy bien.
Después de ambos llegan con 4 victorias al hilo, ¿qué trae a la mesa diferente Fabricio Verdum que no has tenido con algún otro oponente?
Pues Verdum tiene muy buen jiu-jitsu. Yo pienso que él es el mejor jugador de jiu-jitsu que yo voy a tener la oportunidad de pelear. Y pues en todo también, en su boxeo, miramos que su striking está muy bueno contra él.
No vas a pegar, Cain, no vas a pegar. No seas malo y enseña aquí que estás con nosotros la camisa. Si quieres te sostengo esto por aquí. Ya lo cargué.
Aquí está la playera del show. Dice Cain Velázquez y aquí tiene el tricolor.
No, pues estamos muy contentos por ti, te hemos seguido toda tu carrera, hemos visto que como un gran campeón te sobrepusiste de una derrota y como uno de los grandes, la gente aquí te quiere mucho y sin lugar a dudas va a ser una temporada histórica del Ultimate Fighter.
Claro que sí, muchas gracias.
Cain Velázquez, campeón de los pesos completos, gracias por estar con nosotros, puñito, viva México.
Gracias.
Gracias, vivan las artes marciales mixtas, señores y señores, Cain Velázquez. Y tenemos a otra persona, al contendiente número 1 en la división de los pesos completos, nacido en Porto Alegre, Brasil, le dicen Vai Cavallo, su nombre, Fabricio Verdum. Fabricio,
estamos.
Mira, nada
Es un
más.
poquito diferente, ¿no? Porque estoy como entrevistado ahora.
Sí, hoy
Ahora
ya no es nuestro compañero de transmisiones, hoy eres el contendiente número
Esto
uno
es.
en un evento considerado el más histórico para Latinoamérica y las artes marciales mixtas.
Te agradezco, Víctor, Mario. De verdad que estoy bastante contento, ¿no? Como dije antes, de estar aquí y representar a un pueblo tan grande como, ¿no? Yo creo que toda América Latina, yo puedo decir que represento, me siento muy bien cuando estoy aquí, en todos los lugares que voy.